Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1 o'clock, July 1st. We just got the closing bell and we didn't get much action today. We weren't expecting a lot of action. We were expecting very low movement today and for the rest of the week. But you can see here that we really did very little. We stayed within this one section, this purple section right here in the S&P 500. We did react to that bottom line a couple of times. We crossed this red line, which used to be the EMA 8. Might as well get rid of that now. And traversed all the way back up to near the high. So basically where we started at the open. And we have the S&P basically flat at 0.21%. Volume still incredibly low, 28.7 million so far. Might bump up to 35 or 40 million by the time the dark pool stuff is tabulated. So this is probably what we're going to see for all week. There's not going to be a whole lot to talk about. The videos this week will probably be pretty short, but we will take a careful look at everything. The big movement today was in bonds. You can see that we gapped way down at the open, way down, and then we continue to sell off, and then we found our level and stayed there for the rest of the day. From a daily perspective, you can see that is a huge movement downward on Friday, gap down and traded even lower. We did trade back up to the MA50, but we traded all the way back down and we ended very close to those lows right there. So as I was saying this morning, this is a great time to take profits. And take profits here, and if it bounces back up to the top of this channel or back up to the MA50, you re-enter because there's still plenty of time. There's still a month before we have to technically get to zero on that TLT trade. If we look at a updated FedWatch tool, nope, they'll probably, I guess tomorrow morning we'll see the number. 8.8 is the number that we saw this morning, so that probably only incorporates this huge bar right here. It doesn't incorporate the gap down and move downwards. So maybe tomorrow morning we'll see it at perhaps 7% or so. So we'll just watch that. Like I said earlier this morning, that's going to be probably the juiciest trade this week. We're just going to expect everything to kind of move sideways and not give us a lot of action. We could get some volatility around some of those reports and some algorithms coming in, but we're just trying not to get suckered into that. There's not going to be a lot of things that move unless they independently have their own internal news. For example, like I'm just making things up. This isn't real news. Like something great, like Google loses a lawsuit or whatever, something like that. Then that individual stock could have some large movement, and if they happen to be a FANG stock or a very large market cap stock, then that could cause some of these indices to flutter around a little bit. So we didn't really see that today. For now, I'm just going to take a quick look at all the overall metrics and then take a look at what happened in sectors. What I'm really interested in right now, though, is if there's any disparity in movement between the S&P 500 and the RSP, between the QQQ and the equal weighted QQQ, and if that disparity is explained by movement of FANG stocks, because those are the ones that are propping up the markets right now. So SPY completely flat, 0.21%. I guess not completely flat, but basically flat. That's noise. It's noise. So it looks like a little pin right here and or doji candle. And if I look at RSP is okay. So that's a huge difference. SPY is up 0.2%. RSP is down 0.8%, and you can see how large that bar is. So it does look like the weighting is factoring into that sideways movement, and the FANG stocks probably just went sideways, and whereas a lot of smaller stocks went down. So we might start seeing some disparity in those momentum levels again that we started to see started to look like we're equilibrating when we looked at it this morning. Let's take a look at the QQQ. QQQ up 0.59%, but as you can see, It's really just flat movement. We trade below, trade back up, end up a little bit above the EMA 8. Equal weighted, down 0.22%. Okay, so not quite as extreme of a difference as SPY, but similar. And we are at 0.59 and minus 0.22. This one is a lot stronger, again, a lot stronger than S&P 500, but it has been looking a lot stronger because of the tech heaviness inside of the QQQ. So if we look at X or SMH, completely like doji candle right there, 0.12%. NVIDIA up 0.53%, completely sandwiched in between the EMA 20 and EMA 8. Those are going to get squished closer and closer together. That doesn't necessarily mean that price will move, but we could get convergence of a lot more moving averages if this continues to chop sideways. Let's look at XLK. Pretty much same story, except up a little bit more significant, more significantly, 0.8%. And let's look at XLC. XLC pulling back a little bit. So nothing too exciting, just the disparity that we're seeing once again, especially in the SPY, that is putting us on shaky ground. But, for now, especially with volume so thin, it's realistically probably just means we're just going to keep on chopping sideways. If we look at the sectors, well, let's look at momentum really fast, or maybe I'll look at VIX. VIX should have gone nowhere. It's actually started out up, then came down. Interesting, but flat. Close on close is basically flat. And then CPC real fast, not expecting much there. That is at 0.89%, same as this morning. So I don't know if that's updated yet. And now let's take a look at our momentum levels really quickly. What happened here? Clicked on the wrong thing, I guess. So we've got 40% above the 50-day moving average and 52%. So still looking better than we had for the last few weeks, but not quite as good as we looked this morning. And then the market performance, S&P 500, 40.65. This went down. 40.50. This went down. And 40, I don't remember the numbers for the Dow Jones. And this, I think they all went down. I think this was 60 before. So we are starting to maybe a little bit get that disparity a little bit once again, but mostly because NVIDIA and SMH are basically flat or slightly higher. And then it does look like on a basis on smaller market cap stocks, we did go down, as indicated by the RSP. Okay, so we did move. If it loads, that we had a pretty big red bar on that RSP. So let's take a quick look at our sectors, and then that'll be it. I guess I don't have Stock Fetcher open. We'll just see where money shifted around or possibly left the markets today. Silver up, tech kind of up, QQQ kind of up, XBI, biotech kind of up, discretionary kind of up. Okay, so these are all speculative. That's good. Financials, randomly up. Same with energies. The other biotech ETF is down randomly. And same with semiconductors, defense, communications a little bit more, utilities. Okay, so we're mostly defragmented. Not perfectly, but mostly defragmented. Looks like money really came out of the builders today, retailers, and and industrials. So I guess we might as well, since we have time, we might as well take a look and see what some strong or weak stocks might be. Although with everything chopping sideways, it's probably better just to stick with that TLT trade. So maybe I won't do it. I don't want to confuse people into thinking that we might be directional or any one sector might be directional. I will take a quick look at all the sectors, how they're looking on their charts, on their price action, SMH sideways, silver sideways, XLC reversion to the mean. Looks like it could bounce. So if we're going to go long, I'd be somewhat comfortable with XLC. QQQ sideways, XLK sideways, SPY sideways, gold sideways, XBI sideways, XLF sideways, XHB not looking that great. I'll take a closer look at that. XLE, we already drew a line on that trend, kind of broke through it, hit the MA50, but traded right back down. So this is going to be interesting to see how it goes over the next couple of days. Commodity markets will probably be open a little bit longer than the equity markets. But again, and the commodities, obviously, they'll trade around the world as well, a lot more so than US stocks do. So we could get continued updated data, not in the XLE, but if we look at crude oil futures. So the crude oil is not going to shut down because of 4th of July. The whole world trades oil. So we will get continued data over here. And then so XLE, we'll just have to watch and see how that goes. We had XLC and XHB looking like it was in a little bit of trouble. XHB. Ooh, that's a big bar today. That's a big bar bringing us below some support here. If I do a volume profile, we probably just broke a level. Or no, okay, we went to a gap. So yeah, we did. We broke this level. We broke this level right here, this big spike right here. We broke down. So it's pretty good chance that XHB is going to come down to here. So we could look at XHB to the downside, maybe XLC to the upside. Flat on XLI. Flat on healthcare, flat to somewhat weak on retail, flat on Dow Jones, flat on Russell, flat to somewhat weak on staples. Let's take a look at those two real fast because those are kind of opposites. XRT, yeah, but we got support right here. So we're not going to make too big of a deal out of it. And then XLP, same thing. Yes, we came down, but we've got support right here. So I would just call both of those flat for now until movement proves otherwise. Defense, mostly sideways to slightly weak. Utilities not looking great. Consumer discretionary looking okay. And then XLB looks like it's breaking down. Real estate sideways. XLB. Yeah, XLB, XHB to the downside. And XLY, XLC. It could, but it's so choppy. See, it's up, sideways, up, down 2 days, completely actually going like undoing the move completely, then doing a higher move, then undoing some of the move, then higher. It's just so jagged and choppy. I don't know if you want to get caught in that. That's not the funnest way to trade. It's like, oh, I'm up 100. Oh, no, I'm down 80. Oh, I'm up 120. I'm down like 50. I'm up. Dude, you'll just get chopped back and forth. So I probably would, personally, I would skip XLY, XLC. XLC still has potential. I'd be comfortable taking a position in XLC offset or balanced by maybe a downward position in XHB. Yeah, that has plenty to go, and XLB looks like it has plenty to go as well. So if you do want to take a directional trade, I would suggest one of those three sectors. Okay, so that's going to complete it for today. There's just not too much to look or talk about because of how quiet this week is starting out and is probably going to be for going forward. You can see our volume came in, we're at 36.27, so we're saying about 37 million, and that's spot on. So volume is still very, very, very low. So be careful of bull traps, bear traps. So here, bear trap, right? Bear trap. So just be careful and just realize that this week, overall, the direction is sideways. We're not going to make significant moves upwards or downwards. If you're day trading, then take profits quickly. Don't wait for huge giant trends or expect that you're going to span. So if you happen to catch a bottom right here, you wouldn't necessarily, if you held to the very end, you would have made it back up to this purple line, but you're really getting very close to the last minute right here. So don't expect that you're going to go on these big, huge trends or like go all the way up. It didn't span a couple of sectors. It's not that kind of week. So just take quick profits where you can if you're day trading. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll see each other tomorrow morning and see if, well, most likely it'll be quiet as well, but some of these things could develop. We could take a look at SMH and TLT and those three sectors that we pointed out, XLC, XHB, and XLB. And so those are the things that we'll be watching out for tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.